So, to be about the Father's business, we've got to go into the kingdom warehouse. We've got to gain some things that we'll need before we go out. You know, when they sent them out on a journey, Jesus sent them out. He sent them and he told them not to take anything. Yeah, I'll just pause. To be about the Father's business, you're going to have some supply. And the supply is found in the kingdom warehouse. To go out and do the Father's business, you're going to need some things. And the Lord knows that. He said it doesn't take him by surprise. He knows you have need of these things. And he has a warehouse full of it. But just like getting into the Heart Care Chapel requires a key, getting into the kingdom warehouse also requires a key. This one is humility. The key comes from the time you spend with him and in him, recognizing genuinely on my own, I don't know anything really. I can't do anything well. I really am kind of nothing without him. That I've lived a life, I've seen myself when I've made my own choices, when I've tried to do it my way, when I've tried to pull it off on my own strength. When I've done that striving, even in a good way, that I was thinking the Lord would be pleased, that I was trying so hard, but still it's about me. And when I'm able to be with him, when I'm able to be in him, there's a humility that comes that's actually very lovely to put on. To be able to genuinely say, how much he helps me, how much I'm his beloved. So to qualify to get into the kingdom warehouse really requires humility. There's some powerful things in there that you're going to have to prove kind of you're safe enough to carry them around, to deal with them. Think about someone who's given more money perhaps than they have wisdom to deal with, or maybe more authority than they have humility to deal with. You've got somebody who doesn't have a lot of wisdom, doesn't have a lot of humility. They really have an entitled kind of sense, and then you give them power and money and authority and a fast race car, and probably somebody's going to get hurt. It's going to be them for sure, but anybody else who's around. So the Lord is wise to have us to be about his business after we've spent quite a long time becoming whole, becoming who he's designed us to be, being with him and being in him. And then he says, now's a time to step out. So this humility, I was wondering, is there an example of that? And the person who really shows me that example is David. That he had access to being able to go into a battle that a whole nation's warriors weren't willing to fight, and to come out of that battle successfully because he didn't go in his own strength. He didn't go in his own reputation. He didn't go in his own handsomeness, his own power. He went in the name of the Lord. There's a wonderful passage in Acts. It's the one where God says, I found a man after my own heart. People wonder what that is. They speculate. They say, well, it was because David was so loving, or he was such a good poet, or he was such a good leader. But actually, Acts tells us why he was a man after God's own heart. It's because he would do what the Lord asked him to do. He was obedient. He was humble. He was willing to follow. And if you're willing to follow your beloved who says you're in me and I'm going to go do some Father's business, you want to go with me? And you say, yes, I do. So the Spirit comes, he takes you by the arm and he says, let's go into the kingdom warehouse and let's see what's available. Jesus is always the hero. You're trustworthy. And now the Spirit of the Lord comes alongside you and says, let's go and see what's there. The Father knows you have need of it. He knows you have need of the clothes or the food or the finances or the wisdom. He knows you have need of it. So get your little to-do basket and let's go into the kingdom warehouse and let the Spirit of the Lord lead us as to what we're going to fill that basket up with so that we're ready to go and be about the Father's business.